So if you look at this Iran song, appeared into fourfold grace, I always try to use this symbol as one that if you believe in God, and how do you feel love of God in your life? I said, God appeared in the universe, or the nature, sun, right? Or this is God's manifestation. God loved you, that's why they provide that. And parent, God's love through parent, and God's love through all living beings, and God's love through law and teachings. In one Buddhist understanding, everyone has this potential Buddha nature within themselves. That's why you are potential Buddhas. From now on, treat yourself as a potential Buddha. Nourish your Buddha within. Nurture your Buddha nature. And appreciate it, that you finally make a journey home to see our own Buddha nature. And see them as a living Buddha, including troublemakers in your life. There are so many different kinds of Buddha in our lives, right? So many different kinds of potential Buddhas in our lives. While Sotaesan was living in Korea, he was really at that time writing his teachings, writing scriptures. And one day, elderly couple passing, and they were talking about how they suffer from kind of evil kind of daughter-in-law, making all the trouble at home. So they are going to the temple to make offering to Buddha, to make to pray to Buddha or ask Buddha to nourish or control their daughter-in-law, become a little kinder women, a little considerate women, make less trouble at home. So Sotaesan was overheard their conversation. So Sotaesan asked that, where are you going? So they said, we are going to temple to offer some Buddha offering. So why? And they talked about, we have a very big problem in our house because of this daughter-in-law making such a trouble to everybody, angry, upset all the time, do the terrible things to each member of a family, and so forth. She must be very stressed up, moving into somebody else's house, and they'll try to make a relationship with in-laws. So in-laws problem a lot happening in Korea. I don't know here, maybe you are much more advanced way of dealing with your in-laws here, and daughter-in-law or son-in-law. You embrace them, they're your own child. But in Korea, they have to live together in extended family. So a woman, young woman, married a man, maybe it's arranged marriage at that time. They didn't even know the man's face, but somehow parents arranged it that a woman moved into a strange house, and there is a grandmother, grandfather, a lot of aunties, a lot of uncles, and sister-in-laws and brother-in-laws. They make a lot of trouble because she's different. She doesn't know this family tradition. She cooks something different from their mother's cook, and so they all talk about all strange things. So she must be so stressed up, be very angry. So they just pointing and expressing her anger to every member of their family. So Sotaesan listening this story and suggest that why don't you turn your offering to your daughter-in-law? And he said, why don't you really make offering to living Buddha in your house? And living Buddha, they said, where is the living Buddha? I want to see the living Buddha. I want to meet the living Buddha. Where is the living Buddha? So Sotaesan said that someone in your house, addressing someone in your house, need a lot of your offering, a lot of your prayer, a lot of your caring. And they were so surprised that, and who is in my family a living Buddha? And so Sotaesan said that your daughter-in-law is a living Buddha. So why don't you use the money you try to offer in the temple to the Buddha, use their money. So this is, how can I really treat our living Buddha, our daughter-in-law at home, turn into a good daughter-in-law? So Sotaesan suggests that they use their money, go to a shop, buy something she likes, buy something she really like to wear, like to have, or like to eat. So with the doubt in their mind, but they tried because Sotaesan looks like so wise person and radiating light. So this elderly couple, instead of going to temple, they turn around and going back to the shopping mall and bought something she liked, something she can eat, something she can wear, some little jewelry. So they went back to home and talked to the daughter-in-law. We thought you would like this one, so gave all the gifts to her. And then instead of yelling her, but she's just using so calming, as if they are talking to real Buddha, real living Buddha, with a very gentle voice and kind smile. And they talk to their daughter-in-law that I thought you would like this food, and we bought it, tried it, might be candy or whatever, and then a little gift. And then giving the gift itself is the daughter-in-law's mind, anger or hatred. All those are melting away. So within 3 months, they became good friends, good family members. And daughter-in-law is not troublemaker anymore, become very adorable woman in the family. She cooked for whole family, she did the laundry for whole family. Whole family turned into the appreciation and gratitude and thanking their living Buddha at home. So a few months later, this couple came back to Sotaesan and described what they did and what happened to this daughter-in-law. So Sotaesan said that is today's offering. That is in 21st century, in modern day life, a lot of hectic things can happen. In-law problem with the boss, problem with the co-workers, problem with our children, sometimes problem with our sibling or problem with our spouse, sometimes problem with our parents too. So when you encounter that kind of problem, see that person as a living Buddha and offer things as if you are respecting and talking to Buddha, Gautama Buddha or Sotaesan. So all those people are a manifestation of their Buddha nature. But the development and the cultivation is so different. It is like an iceberg. If you look at the iceberg, 10% of iceberg is above the water. And what happened? 90% of iceberg is under the water. It's not visible. If all 100% of the iceberg is visible, we would not have a Titanic tragedy and sinking whole people in the ship under the ocean. When they see this iceberg, small iceberg, it was too late to turn. This is the wisdom. If you are a meditator, if you practice meditation and mindfulness, when you see the tip of ice, you see the 100% of iceberg and prevent the tragic events in your life. So this is the wisdom coming from our meditation. See whole picture 100%, not just whatever appeared to be. So in our world, in our human life, it's like that. 90% is invisible. We don't know what they think, right? It's invisible. But only 10% appeared. Sometimes less than 10% appeared. So if you judge or make a decision based on this 10%, you will make a big mistake. The trouble begins there. So when you see 10% of visible things, discern 100% of that existing, 90% of underneath. If somebody says some nasty things to you, don't realize it's just a nasty word. Think about where does it come from. So discern 100% of the whatever it is, good or bad, positive or negative, and have the wisdom to deal with it. So how do you apply this teaching into your daily life? From today on, from this moment on, see people around you as a living Buddha. See your parents as a living Buddha. See your brothers and sisters as a living Buddha. See troublemakers in your life as living Buddha. See yourself, the most important, see yourself as a living Buddha. Treat yourself as a living Buddha. Nourish yourself as a living Buddha. And see your children as a living Buddha. See your co-workers as your living Buddha. See everyone you meet throughout the day as a living Buddha. See your daughter-in-law as a living Buddha. See your son-in-law as your living Buddha. So there are all kinds of Buddhas around us. You encounter happy Buddha, sometimes sad Buddha, sometimes depressed Buddha, sometimes angry Buddha, sometimes joyful Buddha, sometimes compassionate Buddha, sometimes loving kindness Buddha, sometimes very, very negative Buddha. So whoever appears, whoever you meet, treat them as a living Buddha. Respect them as they are. If you see anything and anyone as a living Buddha, your life is transforming. You yourself is transforming. Your heart is transforming. Your mind is transforming. Your emotion is transforming. Your psyche is transforming to become Buddha, become embodiment of your Buddha nature and Iransa. So maintain respect, maintain that kind of a loving kindness, maintain that compassion, maintain that insight and wisdom to see with your wisdom eye everyone and everything in my life. Whoever comes in, whoever goes away, treat them as Buddha, receive them as Buddha, and let them go as a living Buddha, leave them as living Buddha. So in the coming week, beginning this moment on, let us practice to see Buddha nature in me, Buddha nature in my friends, Buddha nature in everyone and everything. And everyone you meet in the street, in the store, or at home, or your workplace. So respect them accordingly, and love them accordingly, and enjoy your encountering with them. You are the son of spirituality, because you are a meditator. You are the one initiate this kind of a life in your family, in your workplace, in your community, in our city, in our world. So let us practice this Iransa, the original nature of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, humans, and sentient beings.